Hello, and welcome to episode 120 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and joining me this week is Sean.
I'm gonna
Hello.
just keep,
There you go.
checking the email. So who knows? Maybe it'll happen during the show. Probably not.
And Harrison.
I'm not expecting any kind of emails. If I get an email from Nintendo, I will pass it along, I guess.
And what they are referring to, of course, is we're recording this on the day that Nintendo is allegedly announcing who was selected in their lottery for Switch 2 purchases. If you went through the Nintendo Switch Online store and basically said, "Hey, yes, I think they called it registering interest. Yes, I'm interested in buying a,
Yeah.
a Switch 2." So if you did that, you should have got your email today, but none of us did. So who knows how many they never said how many people they're selecting. So, who
No, it did
knows what
not.
your odds were.
You have to have a certain
Anyway,
amount of followers on your podcast to get a Nintendo Switch. You have to,
exactly, and
yeah.
Well, there's still hope we get a cease and desist email one day. So
Yeah, wouldn't that be
so
fun?
fellas,
Yeah, that's fun to think about.
one thing I was thinking about this week, a lot actually, because I kinda like this game, is, I've been thinking about what the Mount Rushmore of Nintendo characters would be. Which is a concept that I always thought it was fun. I like to do it with things like, what's your Saturday Night Live Mount Rushmore? What's your, like, Star Wars character Mount Rushmore? What's your Walt Disney World Hall of Presidents Mount Rushmore? And, I think the reason it, like, usually generates a decent conversation is because, like, the concept of Mount Rushmore is flawed to begin with. I don't think people would even agree on the actual faces on Mount Rushmore, like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln are like a lock and the other two spots are up for debate. And I think it's very similar with Nintendo. I think Mario and Link are kind of a lock for who would be on the Mount Rushmore and then those other two spots are up for debate. So my Mount Rushmore, I'll just get that out of the way, is I think it would be Mario, Link, Donkey Kong, and Pikachu. I think there's an argument to be made for Tom Nook, but New Horizons is still kind of like maybe that was not gonna last. They sold 40 million on Switch, but the other games only sold like I don't know what they sold, like 10 million. I don't know.
you
Um,
think Tom Nook deserves to be up there?
I'm saying I think an argument could be made. I already said my pick. My pick, I think, is Link, Mario, Donkey Kong, and
Okay.
Pikachu. But I think an argument could be made.
Okay.
Kirby as well. I think if we were having this conversation like 20 years ago, Fox McCloud would be in the discussion. Maybe Metroid. I don't know. What's everyone else's thoughts?
Sean?
I mean, mine's boring. It's Mario, Pikachu, Link, and Kirby.
So the thing with Pikachu
There,
that I thought about was like the reason I could see people arguing him off is because he's not really the main character of Pokemon. He's the main character of some Pokemon games, but for the most part, he's not a focus.
he's the most recognizable.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, he's on
So I
mine,
think.
so I get it. I'm just saying like what people might argue.
No,
You
I
get
mean, Mario and Link, you can't really, especially at this point with the Switch, you can't
Mhm.
argue Link off of it anymore.
Yeah,
Um, Kirby just because I think in
'cause he's
general is
easy to carve.
that and is significantly more popular than I think I had really realized.
Mhm.
And I feel like once Samus maybe has a few more recent releases, she could knock someone off there because Dread did well and people are
It
excited
didn't
for Prime.
It didn't do as well as, like, top tier, though, like, even a good Metroid game usually only sells, like, under 5,000,000. I don't know if you knew that,
Yeah,
it's not like a 10,000,000 copy selling game.
but yeah, I don't know. It's like you said, Star Fox. You got to do something with them, and I don't know.
Mhm.
There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of forgotten faces at the bottom of the mountain, looking up and like, "Hey, I'd like a game again." Like,
Hmm. Oh, yeah, we talk about them all the time. Kid Icarus, Ice Climber.
So,
Captain
But
Falcon.
so it's Mario, of course.
yeah,
Um, n
Yeah.
now now
that's the George Washington,
Link is
and
on
Link
there
is the Abraham
also.
Lincoln.
Link is on there also, but I mean, is it too normie? I'm gonna bring up the normie points of like a lot of people get Link's name confused. I mean, like there's only a few games where actually he's in the title or he's
Yeah.
like the main part of the title.
Yeah,
Like
I get it. Just
Even
our
Zelda
name.
2, it's still Zelda 2. It's
Yeah.
even though it's an adventure of Link.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's still on there. Pikachu is
Mhm.
on there easily, and I'm surprised that we're even kind of debating that. No offense, but
No,
like
I wasn't debating it either. I was doing the same thing you did with Link, where I'm like, people might argue that he's not a focus of Pokemon games. I have him on mine though.
if I talk to like any 5-year-old student that I have, they know Pikachu, so it has to be
Yeah.
on there. Like it is
They
just
probably know Pikachu before the others at this point, honestly.
all of
Yeah,
them
he might
do.
be bigger than Link for sure.
Like so he has to be on there. And the fourth, like it's got to be it's so I would say like those three are like in a tier if I did tiers, but then like right below that, then the tier right below that, the only two in there are Donkey Kong and 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 um and Kirby, maybe Yoshi. Okay, now I'm cheating. Donkey Kong, Kirby, I
Yeah.
think are in that tier. May
Yoshi's a good one. I didn't think of that.
Yoshi is a good one, and and honestly, like, I mean, I would disagree highly with Tom Nook because I mean, it's a big game, but if you showed my parents Tom Nook, they'd be like, I don't know who that
Mhm.
is. Again, normie take. I don't know how much that really qualifies anything, but I think right below that tier, I would put Samus, uh, and then or Samus. I mean, I can't even say it right. Samus, and then
Yeah.
Meme.
uh and I think that's it for that tier as well. But yeah, I think Kirby, I think is for at 4th spot.
Donkey Kong is kind of a cheat too, because I feel like we're blurring multiple Donkey Kongs into one there. Because you want the reputation of the arcade game, but you also want the Donkey Kong Country games and whatever, even Donkey Kong Jr. in some of the Super Nintendo era. So
I'm not doing it
And
justice.
whatever Bonanza is.
I need to
But
add one
yeah,
more though.
that's part of why I didn't pick Donkey Kong is because I think maybe his resurgence is coming with Switch 2.
but I mean, like, none of the links are the same link. So,
I think that only help I think it helps
No,
this
but
case.
yeah.
I'm going the other way. Um I I need to add Luigi. Luigi is easily like top 6 or 7 on this list. Like even though he's a sidekick.
Luigi is Mario's vice president, though.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay, so how many vice presidents are on Mount Rushmore?
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Oh,
no, I'm serious.
that
No, I'm
that
serious.
eventually
No,
went
I'm
on.
serious. How many vice presidents end up being president? Because
That, yeah, I get what you're saying.
because didn't he
Yeah.
solidify his his legacy with Luigi's Mansion 3? Like if Luigi gets one more Luigi's Mansion 3 level game, couldn't we put him on that Mount Rushmore?
You you could
Yeah.
bump him up then.
I mean, probably not,
Yeah, it
but
gets to
it's
be
like
rocky territory then, because then you start to realize how much of Nintendo is relying on Mario spin-off characters, you know? And
Yeah.
that's even outside the Mount Rushmore discussion is a lot of Nintendo is Mario spin-off characters. And then you've got your Zeldas, your Metroids, your Kirbys, but
Well, I mean, even Mario Kart World, they're just going full in on Mario for
yeah.
that. There's
And
no
yeah.
And same
Bowser
discussion,
characters.
are we including Zelda in this discussion as well? Because again, Zelda is, I think, more is it more recognizable if you just look at the character and not the name? Because again,
I don't
like
know. I don't think she's more recognizable than Link.
No,
I
I think Link's more recognizable.
because it's just a name thing then. It's just like if I
Yeah.
again if I show my parents Link, they're gonna say it's Zelda. Like
I think it's
it's just
similar
that.
to if you showed most Americans the actual Mount Rushmore, they probably wouldn't be able to name all the faces. Like, they'd recognize Link, but they might get the name wrong.
That's a different
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a different discussion. That's yeah, that's something different. Yeah. Yeah. And it's also it's in like what, South Dakota? I mean, who goes to South Dakota? Unless you're listening right now and you're from there, then
Drop
it's
a
awesome.
comment.
Yeah. Uh
Yeah.
so
I just don't know who the Theodore Roosevelt is.
he's one of the Roosevelts. Uh so
He's the
let's
adventurer. It's like
um
he's the Link.
let's switch things up. I want to talk about some Nintendo going on news, but how about we do just the fun segment for today? So I should have put a label up here. Perhaps I'll do it in post. But our randomizer today is for a game I'm calling Wrong Answers Only. So you cannot give the correct answer if it's your turn. I'm going to spin the randomizer. We're going to go one for one. Kevin, I
I
would
think
like
I
to.
got some randomizer
Okay.
music actually.
Oh, okay.
Before we came on, I was updating the soundboard, Harrison. So Harrison hasn't heard this yet, but let me know when you spin it. I'll play the sound effect.
Okay. Okay. So Kevin, the first one goes to you, and I'm spinning it in three, two, one.
Oh, that actually timed out almost perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
We might just want to
All right,
add
so
that in with the post because I don't know how the audio is gonna go, but I
oh,
like
okay.
it.
All right.
I like it.
Okay.
You press it if you want, but sometimes it doesn't come up the right way when I'm doing.
All
But
right.
anyways,
Yeah, this will be a trial run. Let me know afterwards. This is behind the curtain, but let me know
yeah,
afterwards if it worked, and then we can figure it out from there.
listeners, you're the guinea
The
pigs for
magic.
today. All right, so,
Yeah.
so I'll read it if you're on audio only, of course. Wrong answer only, Kevin. What is the Triforce actually used for?
Well, the Triforce is great at getting out those stubborn stains that you find all over your royal carpets. It's got the triple cleaning power that Hylians need. I think it's pretty much the most recognized cleaning brand in all of Hyrule.
Oh, it's a brand. Triforce brand
Yeah,
cleaning. Oh, okay, okay.
yeah. And
That makes
you know,
sense.
you've got Magic Eraser, you've got Mr. Clean, you've got Triforce,
Scrub
Triple
Daddy,
Action,
things like that.
you've got
It kinda looks like a Scrub
you've got
Daddy.
Din, Din, Fire, and I don't know, Fior. I don't remember the three.
That makes sense.
Get out stains with courage.
When you need
Yeah.
the wisdom, the courage, and the power to remove those stains.
Unless you're Ganondorf.
Wrong answer only. Next one goes to you, Sean. Kinda so, Sean, why did Bowser kidnap Peach this time?
Not really a kidnap thing. They're actually playing cards together, but they don't want to let Mario in on it because it just gets awkward when you get three people and two of them have been kind of hanging out for a long time. So it's really just like their girl talk session over cards, seeing how things are going in the Mushroom Kingdom. And, wonder it got a little weird because he turned into a castle. So he had to, vent about that a little bit.
Do you think Nintendo's ever going to reference again that Bowser turned into a castle?
I don't think so. I I
40 years from now,
I think
it's going to be an
everyone
assist trophy.
every once in a while, Toad knocks on the door and it's like, "Hey, guys, Mario showed up again, and they're just like, "Just tell him we're in a different castle. Just tell him we're somewhere else." It's like, "Hey, sorry, Mario, they're not here." Okay. Next one goes to me. What went wrong with the Virtual Boy?
You're not the guy to get that.
J- I mean, Kevin, do you want this one? The Virtual Boy was ahead of its time, and people just don't understand. They don't get it, or they
The
didn't get
problem
it
with the
back
Virtual
then.
Boy is
If
it
it
wasn't
came
red enough.
out now, it would be bigger than the Apple Vision Pro,
Mhm.
and it would put Nintendo on a whole different timeline. But what's the actual wrong answer, Kevin?
Well, they needed a bigger headset too. It should have looked like that thing that Doc Brown's wearing in Back to the Future when Marty first comes to the door. It's like the size of a chandelier on his head. That's really what the Virtual Boy should have looked like. So, obviously covering your eyes. Um, so yeah, they just went too small. You got to dream big.
I think the problem was that they went into production. Seemed to me that should have stopped way before that point.
Wrong answers only, Sean. We're doing wrong answers only.
Oop.
This is a unserious segment that we're doing right now. Kevin, why does Link never speak?
Well, the thing is, Link's got a temper. He's got the Triforce of Courage, but he also has a lot of anger inside of him, and he's just like, when you're just so mad that you're just like stammering. That's a big part of it. I think another part of it is that he grew up in the woods, raised by a bunch of children, so he doesn't have that much of a vocabulary to begin with.
Well, we do
He
know the
was
correct
raised by a tree.
we do know the correct answer. Well, excuse me, princess.
Yeah,
When he does speak, he sounds like that. So he's
I
like,
Sounds like
missed the
Han.
Captain N Link. He was a little more not that.
perfect. Sean, what happens when Kirby swallows Wario? And keep in mind, this is a PG-13 show.
Well, a lot of people don't know that Kirby's very similar to a bag of holding. So basically, he holds you in a void for as long as he wants, and if you're lucky, he'll let you back out. So probably doesn't smell too great either when he's got Wario in there.
Does he, does he have a mustache?
True.
He does. He has a mustache and probably flatulence because that tracks, right? That's what they just. It's Wario never started out that way. He was all about gold, and now it's all about bodily functions.
Yeah, he was about treasure. Like his first 3 games, he's fighting pirates who stole his treasure. So it's interesting that he just became the stinky guy.
It's kind of interesting, but that's Nintendo going, all right, these boys just like farts, I guess. I think that's what it was. Like, I mean, like, I don't know if
Very, very
perhaps they redo
highbrow.
Wario with like, I don't something Gen Alpha that I let's move on. All right, this one goes to me. Uh, why do Goombas hate plumbing? I'm not sure what the plumbing and the toilet situation is in the Mushroom Kingdom, but they certainly don't make a lot of money. And I would also be concerned with the overall diets of some of these Mushroom Kingdom characters. as well. So, um, yeah, is there any lore about are there toilets in Mushroom Kingdom?
I actually you made me Google it, and, not that I can find. I'm looking at images, and none of them are from an actual Mario game.
I'm
There's
thinking
lots of,
about
They
like
the
they, uh,
hmm?
came up with a very elaborate, uh, pipe system, which they used for transport instead of for moving waste.
that is so
So,
true. All of the tax money, all the infrastructure went to that dang plumber that
yep,
clearly isn't using those pipes for the right thing, which would be, going to the bathroom. But
Well, I mean, it's gotta be a nightmare to sit down on a toilet in the Mushroom Kingdom. Their pipes have piranha plants coming out of them that bite you.
true,
mhm,
true.
mhm. I used to have a nightmare about that as a kid. Reoccurring. I don't
Some of
think
them
that's
shoot fireballs.
uncommon.
Not all of them.
We have 4 to go.
Oh, oh, I
Okay.
missed it.
Kevin,
Ah,
I missed it.
why why did Nintendo name it the Switch? Wrong answer only.
Ooh, I mean, who can say why Nintendo does anything? But I think the main reason they named it the Switch is because you will always switch what you are doing to go play some Nintendo Switch, no matter what you're doing. If you're doing your taxes, I'm gonna switch it up, go play some Switch. If you're at work and you don't feel like working anymore, you're just gonna tell your boss, listen, I gotta switch it up. I'm gonna go play some Switch. This is a weak answer. I got nothing.
The Nintendo, the original prototype had a Switch on it.
Oh, there you go.
It had a Switch on the original prototype. Uh,
And it was just fun, unfun, and you would just switch it to fun.
yeah, it does nothing, but it's like a fidget spinner.
There you go.
Those were really popular when, the Switch first came out. Actually, those were extremely popular when the Switch first came out.
Mhm.
I remember those days.
Oh, thought we were going.
I'm pretty sure I'm doing this in post anyways. I'm pretty sure I'm adding
Okay.
the sound.
Well, let me know if it's too much for you.
Doesn't matter anymore. 3 left. Sean, why is Toad always yelling?
So his vocal cords didn't develop properly growing up in the Mushroom Kingdom, and with hundreds of siblings, the only way you're gonna get heard is screaming. And the problem is he has no way of gauging where he is. So if you're at the beginning of a Mario Party board, he's still yelling at you even though there's only 4 people in the room with him. He's going to scream as loud as humanly possible.
I feel like this answer has a little bit of projection from you, Sean. I feel like you're adding in some of your own feelings into this. Just
I
about.
don't like Toad, alright?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That might actually be a good answer though. Yeah, tons of siblings, and he just doesn't feel heard. It's not so exciting when there's only two left.
Yeah.
Uh, what is Mario's real job? Okay, I think any of us can answer this one.
If you
So
know, you
he's
know.
he he's not a plumber. He's
But
not
he
a
does
he.
lay pipe. Boom.
Okay,
He is
okay.
a house painter.
You know,
Uh,
it's funny you say that. When we were growing up, I don't know. This is very pre-internet and everything. When Mario would get the fire power up and he would have like the white overalls, in my neighborhood growing up, we called that Painter Mario because he looked like he was about to be painting.
While he's
which
out murdering. But yeah,
Yeah. Which Fire Mario was right there. I don't know why we went so, you know. existential
painted
with it. Like,
Mario,
yeah.
but it's a fireball, but it's a white suspender.
Yeah.
I
Well
don't know why that one Italian.
the white suit is gonna be available in Hitman, which I saw in their new trailer. That was in the next segment, but I'll
Oh,
say it now. Yeah, you can get the white suit, the red suit, and retail exclusive, which is super weird. You can get the all green Luigi suit, and then you have weapons like a mushroom, like grenade. I think. I don't know. I saw him like throw the mushroom, and then like the car blows
it
up.
it's
And
completely worthless if you can't kill the target by jumping off a balcony onto their head. So,
so I guess that's the right answer. Mario is
whee!
actually an assassin. And
Ghost painter.
speaking of which, what is Nintendo going to do if and when Mario gets canceled?
Well, the first thing they're gonna do is deny, deny, deny. Mario's gonna before the apology video, there's always the deny. Mario's gonna come out there and be like, "I'm a sorry. I was not saying so long, gay Bowser. You know, I was saying so long, King of Bowser, or whatever they claim that clip was." Uh,
It's out of context.
and yeah, it was out of context. Yeah, it's taken out of context. He was throwing a big lizard. So they're gonna deny, and then of course he's gonna have to do the apology video where he's like, I didn't mean to offend anybody with so long gay Bowser.
Oh,
But after that, I mean, Luigi's been waiting for that day. Luigi has been looking
He's
at
gonna
Mario
swoop
like,
in.
yeah, he's gonna swoop in. There's gonna be a few people in the comment sections that are like, are we really gonna continue to support this family? Because for some reason, with celebrity, like people's family is always lumped in with whatever horrible thing the person does. It's like they're different people. But yeah.
but that person
It's
could
gonna be a
grow up
really good
to be
60
just
minutes.
like that
Yeah,
person. That's why.
True. It's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, Sean.
Um
The 60 minutes interview is gonna be really good. They won't do it with
mhm.
Mario, but it'll be with Luigi, and there'll be a lot of leading questions about, "Well, you guys have been together forever. You had to know, right?" And
You made me
Luigi's gonna
think of
get really
Mario
serious,
sitting across from an interviewer and is like he's in a chair that way where his feet don't touch the ground.
picking away.
Yeah.
The
"It was
apology
a different time."
the apology video has to have like if you saw the absolute train wreck Colleen Ballinger ukulele apology video last year, which was just
Oh yeah. Yep.
insane. Just you
It
know what the
wasn't even an
video
apology. It was
you,
like, I'm sorry you were offended, basically.
yeah, yeah, it was all just deny, deny, deny. But
Mhm.
the video starts out just her, and then a second later, she pulls out the ukulele, and you know it's about to be just the craziest apology video. There's gotta be music involved. He's gotta do some kinda like, "I am s" like, just he's sorry about something. Uh, yeah, yeah, M Mario got canceled, but it's the wrong answer. Let's talk about some small Nintendo news. It's man, this
Yeah,
month
slowly.
it's kinda nice, you know. So the one
Yeah, I
news
mean, this is what I wanted the show to always be, and,
Yeah,
obviously, you know, we've gotta report the news because we want to, and we wanna talk about what's going on with Nintendo, but I always kinda wanted the show to be more like conversations about Nintendo like that, so
yeah,
anyway.
uh the one news item I'll talk about before we do like any of the other trailers for the week is Nintendo updated their default icons. It was at 147 before this, but they added 111, which is just random, including every Pokemon starter. Only this is the first time Pokemon are in the default icons, they added some different renders. You can even see it on video right now that like Link is different. Did they have a different Zelda render? Yeah, some of these are different. And that makes 258 overall. Uh pretty cool. And I just something I noticed was that like 5 years after Animal Crossing New Horizons, it's already starting to feel a bit nostalgic when you see like the airlines graphic on here. Um,
Mm.
I'm starting to feel some COVID nostalgia, perhaps, looking at these, or I'm just ready for a new Animal Crossing game. So I don't, Kevin, you're the icon guy. So anything else?
Yeah, so I didn't really pay too much attention to this because of that, because I don't use the default icons. I'm always like on Nintendo Switch Online buying with those silver points,
Yeah.
like the different ones they sell for like points in the store and stuff. So I've got like
Yep.
hundreds and hundreds of those. And in fact, at one point I was worried that wouldn't transfer over to the Switch too, because I was like, oh, I built up this huge library of icons. I'm changing mine like every week. So, so yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to what they actually have, but it's it's good to have more for people, especially who are just coming in and starting with the Switch 2,
Yeah.
to have more default options before they can build because you have to build that library. It's not all
Oh,
available
yeah.
to you, you know? So,
There's a lot
yeah, it's nice
available.
for them to have more default options. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
a lot of I have almost every Donkey Kong, whatever
Mhm.
they've done. Uh,
The only ones I really avoid, like, I buy them all, like, because I always seem to have enough points for it. I think they work it out that way. But, the only ones
Probably.
I avoid are, like, games I never play, like Xenosaga or stuff like that. Fire Emblem, I haven't bought any of those, but and I say
Yeah,
bought,
yeah.
you're not spending money, but yeah.
I like that whole concept though of the coins having a point.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit of a personalization thing, but yeah, I
I
get
found out
the
today if you go on mynintendo.com, because that's where I was checking to see if I got a Switch too, you
yeah.
can get coins there too for checking in on that app.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, is it Jack? Is that the Halloween guy from Animal Crossing?
I think so.
um, Wisp,
The jack-o'-lantern?
The jack-o'-lantern guy? I have
the
him because
yeah, I guess that is Jack. Wisp is
you're
the
the
other one.
Animal Crossing guy.
Yeah, I'm bad with names though. And it's like and it's one time a year. So Wisp is the ghost. But Halloween, I guess,
Ah,
is Jack. I don't know. Yeah. But
yeah,
I
I
don't
just
know the I don't
confirmed
know
it.
the name of the really creepy rabbit they have in Animal Crossing, which is
I
incredibly
confirmed it via Nookopedia. It is Jack.
yeah.
Nook.
Okay.
He's all over the internet, Tom Nook.
First appeared in the first Animal Crossing, which usually they say Animal Forest if he was in that, so I wonder if he wasn't.
Yeah, maybe.
I it
Oh, yeah,
would
because
be
Animal Forest would have been Japan, and Japan doesn't really do Halloween, so yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm derailing us.
it would be um it would be better if Nintendo did incentivize a little bit more in the future, like what you just said, like, did you know you can get points from the online whatever?
Yeah.
Uh, but, like, like, if they take, like, the Pokemon model of it, that is just another way to keep people engaged with your system. So I hope they take advantage of those things in the future. And just a little side note, since we haven't talked about it in a long time, I f I'm, like, finally at the point where I feel like the Pokemon mobile app has a lot of cards and a lot of content. So, shout out to
Yeah.
Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. I'm still checking in every day. I'm not doing the battles, so I'm, like, way behind on that.
Yeah,
Um,
me either. It
but
takes so much time. Like, it takes sometimes, like, 20 minutes to do a battle.
yeah. Yeah, but there's tons of opportunities to get just, like, free packs if you do it. So if I had the
Mhm.
time, I guess I would do the offline grinding, but for now, just enjoying collecting, and yeah, we finally have enough sets where I feel like there's always something to kind of work towards. Anyways, there were a couple uh trailers. There was a couple of what Nintendo calls creator voice. They did a creator voice
Yep.
for Cyberpunk, they did a creator voice for Final Fantasy VII. And my initial feelings of it was Nintendo did a really nice job with this one, and I just wanted to put that out there initially because I've been pretty critical, I think rightfully so, of some of their presentations, whether it's Treehouse or whatever it might be. Vibes are good, music is good, and they really went into these studios with the focus of this is why this third party game is going to be good
Yeah.
on a Nintendo console. So I just hope they kind of keep that because I was watching it and it was like making me feel better because it just was a good feeling video. Sean, what did you have? Because I know you wrote about Final Fantasy VII. What did you think
So
about that?
that that was the latest developer voice they did, and it sounds like the plan is to have all of the games on Switch too, which is cool because we didn't initially think that was gonna be possible.
I still
And
don't
it
see how it is, but that's it. Because like I can understand how they can get remake on there because that's was a PlayStation 4 game, and there was actually an article this week that says that the Switch 2 is actually somebody looked at the actual motherboard and they know what they're talking about apparently, and they said that it's a little bit more powerful than a PlayStation 4, but not an
yeah.
Xbox Series S. So point is, that was a PlayStation 4 game. It makes sense that it can be on there. But the others, from what I understood, were PlayStation 5, like, needed that amount of horsepower to run. So I mean, if they can do it, great. It's just really it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of performance hit it takes.
I think it's gonna come down to them having to build it specifically for the system,
Mhm.
which I've seen a lot of people talk about who've gone to these Switch 2 events, trying out the games in person, saying that Cyberpunk, like, you can tell CD Projekt Red took the time to build it to work on the system. So it's all gonna depend on that.
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping, 'cause other thing they announced is the tarnished edition of Elden Ring is I assume this stuff is just at launch because the other consoles will get it too as DLC, but it's getting 2 new classes, Knight of Ides and Heavy Knight, no idea what those are, and then a couple of skins and I
Steiner from
think
Final
something else,
Fantasy
but
9 is a heavy knight.
there you go. Maybe he shows up. But, my hope is that they'll do a developer voice with From Software about the Tarnished Edition and about specifically building it for Switch, and then obviously do one on the Duskbloods down the road. But it's also because I kind of want a release date. But yeah, no, I really I'm with Harrison. I think they're putting a lot of attention into these videos to show that all these third parties are fully on board this time, and like they're working hand in hand with Nintendo. It's not kinda what we saw on the original Switch where it's like, "You'll never believe this port that they get to work," and it's Panic Button or one of those guys, and it's like it's almost more like it was a struggle. It wasn't like, "Oh my god, you guys did it." It's like, "Wait a minute. You made Doom 2016 run on this thing?" And so I feel like it's more of a celebration than a kinda shock and awe thing where they're like, "Oh my god, like, that's amazing." So
Yeah, I think the Switch 2 is going to be a system where a lot of games are kind of it's a they're honoring the games on that system, or it's some kind of accomplishment, some kind of monumental moment for that game moving forward. Elden Ring, I was watching the newest hands-on trailer for what's it called? The roguelike
Oh,
they're making.
Night Rain.
Yeah, for Night Rain.
I think
And
yeah, yeah, the separate game. Yep.
and I just think From Software has a really um amazing opportunity to do something with the development of Elden Ring. I mean, they were already nominated for Game of the Year twice with one game. So it just and this new one is looking like it's I don't know. It looks like it's better than anything they've come up with as far as like combat goes so far. But I'm talking out of turn. I don't play this game, but I just think the development on it looks incredible. And Nintendo, of course, I think if they contact any developer to do an interview, they're going to do it. And yes, I hope From Software does it to talk about how they developed it for the system. Something CD Project Red talked about in theirs is that this is the first actual handheld console that will play Cyberpunk, and they really emphasize that.
Yeah.
But we have like the PS Plus or whatever it's called, the PS PlayStation Portable. No, no, wait. It's the hybrid
Oh,
cloud
yeah, the handheld
PlayStation.
thing.
And then you
Yeah.
have all the other handheld PCs which can play Cyberpunk. Um and I can play Cyberpunk on my Steam Deck on really high graphic settings, make it look really good. But this is the first one where it's actually optimized on a handheld system. Also, they're putting the entire game on a cartridge, including DLC, which is um,
Yep.
very, very important right now, in my opinion. So, so yeah, my prediction is that it plays well, but graphically it's gonna look less because they're gonna bring everything a little bit down just to make sure it plays correctly. Everyone knows the history of Cyberpunk. So so yeah, what other ones were I said Hitman, uh
Yep.
Final Fantasy 7. Oh, Star Wars Grand Collection, $140. I was
Yeah,
like,
Which is
I think
weird
it was
because every game in that collection, I feel like, is always on sale on the Steam shop. Like, I've seen every one of those games for a $5 price tag.
yeah, I was looking at it, I was like, even on sa like, I have no way of gauging of if this is a good deal or not, because, like, if it's on sale, it's $100, but still, like, you can get a lot of these games for under $5.
Yeah,
Um,
if you waited it out, I think if you bought all of these at their rock bottom sale prices, I think you'd spend $80 if you just waited for the sales to come
which
back.
might be what the sales price is if this ever goes, like, 50%
Yeah,
off. Like,
that's true. That's true.
if the collection 'cause I was just thinking, like, because I don't have any of these games, I was thinking, like, what percentage would it have to be for me to, like, pick up these 9 games in the collection? Because yeah, because I
I have
like,
the
on
original releases of some of these games.
yeah, on Steam, you can get a couple of
I
these games
have
for, like
I get the Knights of the Old Republic ones on sale, but yeah, they go on sale constantly. So
yeah, and there's still and even and even though there's, like, 9 games, there's plenty of people in the comments that are like, "What about this Star Wars game?" I guess it's
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
there's so many. Um, and the last trailer I watched was speaking of Star Wars, Disney Dreamlight Valley is doing Star Wars, I guess, DLC. And I just wrote down that every time there's a Disney Dreamlight Valley trailer, it feels like the Member Berries episode of South Park, or it feels like watching Ready Player One, um, or reading Ready Player One, I guess, because like everything is just like, oh look, R2D2, everyone loves R2D2. Oh, they got lightsabers. They got lightsabers.
gonna get
Tatooine.
that.
You remember Tatooine? Everyone loves Tatooine. That's how I felt.
Never
Exactly.
been there.
Exactly. So that's all I got for us guys. Are we doing kind of an obscure spotlight
Oh,
game today? What else?
I got two quick hits, because I don't have much to say about either one, but I feel like they should be mentioned. Is there's a lot of talk going on about a Chrono Trigger 2.0 remake being
Oh yeah,
rumored, and then also this week, Hughie Hori said that he's considering doing a remake, which is weird because the rumor is that it's already started. And then so Chrono Trigger, we might be getting that. And then the other news story I saw this week that I was like, that's weird, is the Switch 2 Joy-Cons have like face plates for the color on the side that you can swap. But it's weird to me because the internal color of the controller you can't change, and it doesn't seem like you can change the color under the joystick either. So weird.
It kinda seems like
Mm,
what a lot of us were asking with, like, the original Switch, just having skins. So it kinda feels
But
like
it's like a half measure because it's like you can only
yeah,
change the side of the controller, like,
exactly,
whatever color you have on the joystick, you're stuck with.
exactly, exactly, so
Alright,
yeah.
that but like I said, I didn't have a lot to say about them, but I thought they should be
Yeah,
said.
it doesn't really make sense, yeah.
Mhm.
So the the Spotlight game today is one of the Spotlight games in the collection, that's what I would say.
it is. Yeah.
So this week, our spotlight is for the Sega Genesis classic Super Fantasy Zone, which came to I think everything universally because that's what Sega did in January of 1992. So by that I mean like North America and Japan on the Sega Genesis.
Did it? It didn't come out in North America though, did it?
Oh, it didn't? Okay, I didn't notice that. But normally they release their stuff simultaneously anyway, if it did get released over here.
Mm,
So one thing that, like, really was the main focus for this game for me is, more than anything in the actual game was a long, long time ago, we did an episode on our podcast where we talked about Sega and their history with their mascots and what they
Mhm.
almost went with before they created Sonic. They had a lot of different mascots that they tried out, and the main character, if you can call it a character, of this game, Opa-Opa, was Sega's mascot for a hot second. So this was the Sonic the Hedgehog. This was the Mario of Sega for which is interesting that they didn't release it in North America because, you'd think you'd take your mascot character everywhere. Um, I still like what was the one that I liked that they had? It was like Dr. Games, I think was his name. That was a
Oh,
Sega
yeah, the
mascot.
Master System guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Games, yep, I just looked it up. That's he needs to make a comeback. That should be Sega's mascot, Dr.
Well
Games.
well,
Anyway,
honestly, I think the title of this game, and I guess it's because it might be translated, I think Super Fantasy
generic as hell.
Zone as an English title is just a horrible title because,
It's
like,
the most generic thing ever.
it
Like,
doesn't tell you anything.
and
It
I
You
expected
put
it to
some
be an
words together.
RPG. Like, I
it
really expected this to be like a sword and sorcery game.
it sounds like it's to me, it sounds like Discovery Zone, which as a kid,
Hmm.
loved Discovery Zone. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could still smell those tubes. And they had the roller slides, which it's like, how is this more effective than a regular slide? But anyway, um, Opa-Opa, he's the main character. Is he a ship? Is he a living thing? He's got legs and wings, but he's got a cockpit. I'm not really sure. Uh, the gameplay is that you have these like 10 main targets you have to destroy, and then you get a boss fight. Um, horrible, horrible cover art to go along with the horrible title too. Like the logo is almost unreadable.
Yeah.
Did anybody take a look at that?
Yeah.
Or so, not by didn't look at it long.
Yeah, and it's just, like, not clear what's going on. I don't know. I think some of this stuff is what leads to a game becoming a cult classic, though, is when people can get past all of these things to realize, like, the gameplay in the game, not that bad, you know? But when you surround it with so many bad decisions, you're like it almost makes you root for the game. So, it's got that going for it. It's not a bad little flyy shooty. I wouldn't call it a shoot 'em up because you can go in like either direction. You're not on rails. It's like this weird thing that's its own thing.
I think
Yeah, it's a
yeah, I
non-space space shooter.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I just classify it as a shoot 'em up because it seems like shoot 'em ups have, um, just all different subgenres,
It
and
sort of reminded me of Asteroids, like the
it
way you could
Yeah,
explore
yeah,
around.
because you could go wherever. Yeah.
Mhm.
well
Okay.
if you enjoyed this game and you haven't played Cuphead, what are you doing?
Mm,
Because this game like, I looked up and I tried to see were there any influences of Cuphead with this game because the shoot 'em up portion of Cuphead, looks similar to this. It's just, way, way more difficult. So, yeah, I mean, if they ever wanted to make a modern new game or sequel to this, you could put all different modern shoot 'em up or roguelike elements into it and make, a good game from it. Because visually, there's nothing like that special about it, but it does look good.
The look there was something about the look of this game that reminded me of, like, those those systems, like the 3DO and the CDI, like
yeah,
those games always had, like, this, like, plastic, um they just I don't know how to articulate what I'm saying, but they always had this, like, shine to them, I don't know, it looked clean, very clean look to it that, you didn't often see on the major systems. But maybe it's just that it was replicating arcade visuals a little better, and that's, one of the only things those systems did well, so I don't know.
right.
Yeah. Uh, Pretty cool genre to have on the system. Not a genre that I'm good at playing. Also going with Cuphead as
No,
well, like,
no,
just just, like, even though I made a really good effort with that game, it's, uh but, yeah, it just, uh, perhaps a little too generic, which is why we don't see other Opa-Opa or Super Fantasy Zone games. But yes, I think Uh, they found something where the graphics look good, but the graphics are nothing that special. I really like the assets, like all the different parts that they have. So yeah, I and it does compare to like the shoot 'em up genre. I think is more
yeah,
popular now than it's ever been. So, you also have like if we get in the recommendations, there's lots of options. So this is more of like a um hey, it's nice that we have it in North America now because I don't know if we had it prior to the Switch. I'm not sure if we did. So there is
so
that.
I think it's, the first mini Sega they released a couple
The
years ago.
the second one, and I only know that because I just read it, like, 5 minutes ago. It was on
Okay,
the second Sega Mini.
but I think other
Might have been on the
than
first one too, I
that,
don't know if they repeated games.
I know it's not in the Sega collection that you can get,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's alright.
I compared it most to I don't know if I'm getting too far ahead of us with my ranking here, but I ranked it right below the Kuru Kuru Kerwin on the Game Boy Advance because it I got like the same feeling from both games. I like the Kuru Kuru Kerwin game a little more. But I don't know what it was about it. Like the art style is also kind of similar too.
Yeah,
Very bright, very colorful, very Saturday morning cartoon color palette. So I don't know. They're both games where you're piloting something. Technically, one's a spinning stick, and one is a cockpit with wings and legs. Both very weird. Um, yeah, I ranked it with that, so it's number 64 on my list, Nintendo 64. right below, and it's above Scat on the NES, um, which I guess I also
Yeah,
enjoyed. It's been a while since I played that.
I put it right at number 100.
Woo!
It's not a bad game, but I don't need to play it again. So
I could see myself playing this again if like this is the type of game you turn on if you're like I'm too tired to I think I've talked about this on the podcast before when you're too tired to pay attention to anything but you know you don't want to go to bed just yet so you throw on like a random game on Switch Online. I do that all the time and I'll probably throw this on again when I'm in that kind of mood.
Uh, 112 for me, pretty much what Sean said. Yeah, like nothing good or bad, just uh ge-
Lowest.
just generic, not taking up any like special space on the online service, so it should be there. Yeah, as
Mhm.
many and whenever it comes to imported games, I'm always down with that also. So
oh, yeah, I'm always down with
that's the
being
one.
included.
Yeah, yeah. So um, no no negatives, like really like just no negatives to it. Just that I think all of us prefer other games, perhaps in this genre, and
Yeah.
that just couldn't find a whole lot out of it. But hey, leave us a comment if you're someone. 'Cause I feel like if you're someone who likes this game, you might be in that cult in a good way.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
another thing it has going against it is when I do play shoot 'em ups, I kinda prefer the vertical ones that go bottom to top rather than left to right, if that makes any sense. So,
no, that makes sense.
there was
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It makes sense. I don't. Yeah, I don't really have a preference. Uh, with that, but plenty of people do like it because again, Cuphead was this like massive game, and I see Cuphead being very similar because you go left to right, but you can also control where you are on the screen as well. It's just a way harder
Mm.
game.
Come on, I beat it.
Yeah. Yeah. How many four-letter words did you say in the meantime?
Alright,
I
let's
don't
find
know
out
'cause it wasn't
what we're
many.
looking at next time. Sorry, Sean.
It's all good.
So, perfectly fitting with the sound effect I dropped in randomly that no one will hear. What we're gonna be playing next week is Wario Land 4 on the Game Boy Advance.
Ooh, that's
Uh,
one you like.
no, this is one I haven't played. I
Oh,
played, I played Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, which I liked, and I played Wario Land on Virtual Boy, and I played, what was the next one? Wario Land 2 on Game Boy Color, but I have not played this one. I didn't play 3
mm,
either. That's really confusing titles because what is Wario Land 3? You know what I mean? Because 'Cause you've got Mario Land, Super Mario Land 3, Wario God, Nintendo, get it
Yep.
together. And then you've got Wario Land 2 on the Game Boy Color, um, and like I said, you also have Wario Land on Virtual Boy randomly in there. So is Wario Land 2 a sequel to the Virtual Boy game, or is it a sequel to Wario Land Super Mario Land 3? And then what is Wario Land 3 though? Did they make one or did they just skip to from 2 to 4? Um, Wario Land 3. Nope, they had a game. So is it just not on there? It's a Game Boy Color game. Maybe it is on the service. Anyway, this is all just random talk, me searching things in real time. Hope it's fascinating for all of you listeners. Um, searching the Switch Online. No,
So,
Wario Land 3 is on the service, so we're
and
just skipping it.
we aren't pairing it with any other game. Have we done other Wario Land games?
We did
nope.
the
Oh,
Game
did we?
Boy mini game one.
Oh, WarioWare, we did.
Wario, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
WarioWare,
yeah.
we did. But I don't know, do you wanna pair it with Wario Land 3?
No, we don't have
That's
to.
you.
I wasn't sure. I again with all
I
the
think there
titles, I just
I think there'll be enough to talk about to not have to pair
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I would say
It's not
they're
Yeah.
pretty different
Yeah,
games.
I couldn't remember again with all the titles and everything that we've done.
Mhm.
That dang
No,
Mario.
the only let me search. I think the only Wario game we've done is Game& and Watch. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, not Game& and Watch, you know what I mean. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
Wow.
and it was also
WarioWare Inc.
yeah.
is the only one.
It was also added recently, so that's why it's on my mind. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, we're skipping 3, we're going straight to Wario Land 4. I have not played this game. I haven't played Wario Land 3. Like I said a second ago, I stopped at Wario Land 2. So we'll see where the series went. If you have any thoughts on that game or anything else we talked about, leave a comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Keep in mind we're Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts. So we probably get a lot of stuff wrong, and we rely on correct us, and then we'd be happy to read those corrections, but nobody ever leaves them. So I guess we do know everything and never get anything wrong. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week for more Nintendo Therapy. Bye.